What a somber day to be a Washington football team fan. Think we're going into a shootout this Sunday. Then out of nowhere, allegations, numbers being retired. And here we were thinking we were not going to have a news-filled week. Welcome to the Sidelines Washington Podcast, brought to you by the Sidelines Sports Network. I'm your host and head of NFL operations here at the Sidelines Sports Network, Parker Hamlett. Like I said, 21 officially being retired. We're a couple hours away from the news being announced here. Like I said, a very busy news week. Patrick Mahomes and the last place Kansas City Chiefs coming to town. I'm, of course, joined by my co-host, Mr. Fan Ambassador, or as I like to call him now, Mr. 1K, the birthday boy, Rio Robinson. Rio, just want to take a moment at the top of the show, man. Congratulations. That's a huge milestone, and no one deserves it more than you, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I've been working. I've been grinding. I've been busting my ass to try to get this channel popping. And it takes subscribers. It takes other creators. It takes a village. You know what I'm saying? I'm enjoying every step of the process. And speaking on the Washington football team, we got to just expect every week to be a shit show because it's all we know here. So we should stop thinking that we're going to get quiet weeks, quiet months, and quiet seasons here because that's just not what we do. But let's get to it.
Absolutely, man. Here on episode 28 of the Sidelines Washington Podcast, time flies, and we honestly thought that things would get a little bit better and be a little bit more football-oriented by now, but, you know, with a lot of the stuff that kind of happened over the summer, things are kind of creeping over. But like I said, congratulations. If you're listening, subscribe, Raw Talk Podcast, 1,000 subscribers for Mr. Rio Robinson, the birthday boy. Let's go and get away from the old man and introduce ourselves to our special guest, host of the Urban Sports Scenes podcast, our good buddy, I think we haven't seen since the great horse incident at FedEx Field in week 2. Wole, do you happen to recall what we're talking about?
Yeah, you talking about that? When I saw you all the Giants game. Yeah, that was dope, man. It was good to see you all,
Wole
man.
popped out the cut. We was out there, I swear he just popped up behind the gate all of a sudden.
Yeah. We was getting ready. And then all of a sudden, like it was like now I seen Rio. Then I was like, oh snap, let me give my man Rio some dap, some love. And then I saw my man Parker, and Parker popped I was like, yeah, I know you. Okay, yeah, I've been on the show. What's up, Parker? It's always dope to see people that you kind of like talk to on a social tip and also like doing this podcast thing. So it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
It almost took out all of us content creators in like one isolated incident. And I was like, damn, they're gonna get Wole too. That was a very eventful night, and like I said, a very eventful week here for the Washington football team. No shortage of storylines, and as of course I said, Wole joining us, friend of the show. Make sure you go check out the Urban Sports Scene podcast while you're at it. But I think a lot of people going towards this Sunday, we're feeling kind of somber in general. Like I said, the 2-3 Kansas City Chiefs coming to town, led by former league MVP. Very recent Super Bowl champion, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, the phenom. People can say whatever they want to about this Kansas City Chiefs team, and we'll get into it, but This is still Patrick Mahomes we're dealing with, and this is still Andy Reid calling plays. Yeah. Rio, do you feel like, before we get into it, they're kind of underestimating Kansas City and what they're capable of doing, this Washington football team defense this Sunday?
Yeah, the dudes are definitely underestimating it. Like, I was making this point on my pod yesterday that all 2 and 3 teams are not created equal. We are not the same 2 and 3 as Kansas City, because the type of 2 and 3 that they are, they could win the rest of the games on their schedule and go 14 and 3. We're not capable of such. I just don't know how we stop this Kansas City offense, and they may not punt on us on Sunday because from what I've seen Jameis, Matt Ryan, Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, and Herbert do whatever they want on us all day. I don't know how we're going to stop it.
And, this week going into this matchup, you want to talk football. But earlier today, a bombshell kind of dropped on us, Wole. It was announced that Sean Taylor's number will be officially retired. To say this is short notice is definitely an understatement. Now, it is being said behind the scenes that this is something that's been in the works for quite a while now, since maybe a couple months. I know Tim Hightower reached out to, I'm trying to remember who he spoke to directly. Oh, Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark tweeted about it, saying that he had heard from Tim Hightower in early September, talking about how this is alumni weekend, how they planned on honoring Sean Taylor's legacy. As far as retiring numbers, this is the first time anyone's heard about it. while I would definitely say with all things being reported and talked about right now in the rumor mill, this is some convenient timing, wouldn't you say? I mean, we heard earlier in the offseason, well, it's something we always kind of joked about. Well, if this team starts losing, we'll know that name sooner rather than later. Do you feel like this Sean Taylor thing is kind of knee-jerk? Do you think that they're kind of rushing it? Because that seems to be the general consensus. Twitter's a shit show today.
I mean, I'm a little bit both with it. Obviously, they could have changed up, even though it was planned. But I'm all about, man, give a dude his flowers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is Sean Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the timing sucks because you're taking away the attention from what it should be. That's the problem. That's a real issue to me. So you can always, and I know, like, his family's in town and whatnot. So you want to kind of play within all that. But I'm sure, and just my belief that if you approach the Taylors and said, you know what, we want to make sure that your son gets the proper attention, not this other stuff that is playing a part, and people going to think that, you're doing this just because to kind of distract like the negative media, right? The negative press. If you can just do it on another time where you just can isolate him and so the whole fan base can appreciate Sean Taylor, I don't think they would have an issue with that. But if it was planned ahead of time, I get it. But at the end of the day, like, what PR moves are happening. You want the attention to be on Sean Taylor. You want to embrace his greatness. You don't want nothing negative to be around that environment.
Absolutely. And, like you said, give the man his flowers. Sean Taylor, I think it's the general consensus is the most beloved player in franchise history. And, 21 being retired is long overdue. I just think for it to be under these circumstances is something that a lot of people kind of side at. You see lifelong fans, Tim Meek being one of them, talking about, if this was something that he was made aware of, he would have made sure he was there on Sunday. I'm going to be honest with you. It definitely changes the way I look at attendance on Sunday. I definitely, if I'd known that moving forward, I definitely would have looked at attending this game a little bit differently. And of course, they're definitely looking to put asses in seats right now with the Washington football team now having the lowest attendance in the National Football League. Rio, I know that's something you and I always roll our eyes at, right?
Yep.
Oh, look at all those empty seats. But did this feel like a knee-jerk reaction to you? Just kind of a moment's notice? I was definitely shocked to read the headline today.
I mean, per usual, the optics are always bad here. Like, the optics are never cohesive. They never make sense. It's kind of like knee-jerk. Everything's knee-jerk here. And I kind of feel for the guys that we know are good in the building that have to take the fall on the sword for shit like this, because a Sean Taylor retirement, while they've been talking about it for a bit, the fact that it comes out in the middle of the week and in the midst of all this shit that we're tied to, it doesn't look good, especially for that kind of guy. This is Sean. This is 21. This is the guy we love. Like, having only 10,000 rally towels, but I mean, can we blame him for the 10,000 rally towel? That looks about as much Washington fans that show up to the games. Like, can we blame them for the limited number of towels? While we know Dan is Dan, and this team operates like they've always operated, I mean, fans aren't there. Like, there's a reason for it. Like, I don't even know. Like, we're crazy. We come back for more abuse every year and keep being fans of this team. But we're not there. We get outnumbered by other fans in the building. And I see people who don't go to games complaining about how people don't go to games. And those two things do not go hand in hand. And my say on the take, I don't even need a full rant of the week because I gave this enough of my energy on the timeline. My thing is, let Sean's day be about Sean. Do not use Sean's day to bring your stupid ass preference about what the new team's name is. The old fight song and the old logo have nothing to do with Sean Taylor's legacy. Don't make that the subject or make you the subject when it's about Sean, Michael, Maurice, Taylor. That's all I'm going to say on that matter. But the team has to do better than this because this is unacceptable.
That is our reduced version of the Homage rant of the week. Use promo code SSN Sports 21 for 20% off your order at homage.com today. Rio, you couldn't have said it any better, man. I'm already tired of seeing the tweets. Well, Sean Taylor was a Redskin. People are putting their twist on this stuff, man. Give Sean
nothing to do with anything.
Exactly. Let him have his moment. Even if we don't feel like it's
play
big
the
enough.
fight song.
And I'll say this: I look down the schedule. There are definitely some more games that I would have
probably
considered
Seattle because it's Monday
Seattle's
Night Football.
Yeah. It was close to anniversary.
I was
of
there
everything.
for Bob. I was there when we played the Giants and Bobby Mitchell got his number retired. They didn't play the fight song, so shut the fuck up about the fight song. I'm sorry. Like I had to get that out there. Sorry.
Well, I'm lost. That's the thing. Like the fight song played with Sean Taylor. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, there was a narrative today that went out there, led by a couple people. Oh, Sean was a Redskin, and Sean.
Oh my God.
They better play the
fight
fight song when they honor him. Like, yes, let's go ahead and make Sean Taylor's jersey retiring about us and our hurt feelings instead of Sean Taylor. Like, come on, man.
The state of the team is the state of the team, Rio, and I couldn't agree with you anymore on that. I definitely feel for the people in the building that are good to their core now and trying to turn things around. Mm-hmm. A certain president named Jason Wright. He's definitely in my thoughts throughout this week with the shitstorm that is going on.
Have a drink, Jason. Have a drink or two, man.
Drink however much you need, man. You know, there's the Sean Taylor, retirement of the number situations, however that plays out. Hopefully some fans get in the stadium. Hopefully they get behind the home team. That's certainly best case scenario, and they have a beautiful ceremony for Sean and his family who plan to be in attendance. So that's definitely something I'll be very excited to see how that turns out.
Then there's the game we have to look forward to.
Yeah, the game, exactly. How special does this feel when Mahomes drops 450 yards on your head? I mean,
that's what bothers me. Like, I guess the game choice that it bothers me is that you're going to have Sean Taylor's day in a day that even beforehand, this is talk about beforehand. Like, you looked at the schedule and you chose this game to be the game to glorify Sean Taylor. Even if it was, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not choosing Kansas City.
Yeah, I guess they feel Mahomes gonna put.
Like, I'm not choosing that game. Like, I'm choosing. Like, when you think of homecoming, I went to the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. So when we played our homecoming, we only had a basketball team. We had our homecoming game. It wouldn't be against, say, if the best MEAC squad, like the Norfolk State. It wouldn't be against Norfolk. It would be against Morgan State because they suck, right? Exactly. It wouldn't be against Kansas City Chiefs. Who does that? Like. It is what it is. I have a lot of issues with it. I'm all about Sean Taylor. I'm all about Sean Taylor, so it is what it is. I'm all about Sean Taylor.
With the regime doing a lot of things right, the new regime that is, to see them kind of muff this, the one thing that really unites all Washington football team fans, it's definitely
Sean Taylor.
Disappointing, very disappointing. And something else I would say disappointing throughout the week, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it because, quite frankly, I don't feel like enough facts are out, but the Washington football team was in the headlines this week due to a link with Jon Gruden stepping down as the Las Vegas Raiders head coach. Jack Del Rio kind of coming out and condemning a lot of Jon Gruden's comments. And I'm just like, Jack, you better be careful when they leak some of your stuff too, man. Jack's going crazy on social media a couple times. And there's a lot of people talking out of pocket right now, man. And it's a minefield out there. And, of course, I'm referring to all the stuff that Jon Gruden said dating back to 2011 with former Washington football team president Bruce Allen. Of course, this all ties in the Wilkinson report. 10 months, 42 women, oral report, nothing written. Jay Gruden never contacted during any of this, which that report today absolutely blew my mind. And, even Adam Schefter was catching the smoke with his Mr. Editor comments.
Bruce Allen was feeding Schefter leaks for the last decade, man. That doesn't surprise me, but that makes a lot of things here make sense now.
It does, and we were well aware. If there's any fan base that was well aware of how all this stuff was playing out, it was us Washington football team fans and content creators, and the NFLPA, of course, pushing for the NFL to release the Wilkinson report. Rio, I'm sure you're just as disappointed with all of this as I am, but how are you feeling after all the latest with Jon Gruden and how all of this ties into the Washington football team? It's just sad stuff to read, quite frankly.
How I'm feeling about it is no matter what happens bad in the league, somehow Washington always ends up in the conversation, and we have to get to a point in time where that is not the case. It feels like every story with a negative connotation, somehow Washington finds its way to be at the head of that story, and that's something that needs to change. Like, it can't keep being like this, and my opinion on the matter is there's probably emails from every owner in the league that can be outed, but the expendable pieces, the coaches, the personnel, the front office pieces, those will be the guys outed in these situations because the league protects the shield, and the shield is ran by the 32 owners that have all the power, and This is like Gruden. Yes, he was wilding. He was saying some wild stuff. Bruce Allen was wilding for years, but we already know everything starts at the head, and they're gonna protect them. The league's already said we're not gonna reopen. We're not gonna try to make the public the Beth Wilkinson investigation. We know how this works, man. They know if petulant ass Snyder goes down, he's taking other owners with him. So I mean, come on, man. The league's gonna protect their owners. Like,
and it's not to downplay anything bad that happened
league
at Ashburn. But like you said, we know how this works. And to me, all the scrutiny, all of the anger and all of that energy needs to be put towards the National Football League. You know, they had a narrative going into this entire thing. They knew what they wanted and they got what they wanted, and they spared who they wanted to spare. And like you said, they're going to come after the head coaches. There is a hierarchy here, and the National Football League is going to go after and take out the people that they can take out. And Jon Gruden, like you said, they could leak every email, text message, phone call, whatever have you. I'm sure you can find something if you look for everybody, but his actions were absolutely inexcusable. And to me, I'm just extremely frustrated because we're 5-6 weeks into the season, man. We're just trying to talk ball, and we're constantly feeling the ghosts from over the summer just hanging over this team's head while we're trying to move forward. We've got better people in the building. I pity Rivera every single time he has to go to that podium and answer anything, even in the realm of anything that happened before he was actually the head coach of the Washington football team. But Wole, like I said, I'm sure you're just as disappointed as we are, but what are your overall thoughts on the entire fallout with Jon Gruden and how the Washington football team ties into that big mess?
I mean, you said it's a prior regime. So I'm like, folks got motives. So that's how I look at it. You know, whoever is covering whatever, they got their motives. Because we know, like, people have this discussion all the time. They talk this way. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a dude that we already know about. We knew that Bruce Allen was this way. So why are we talking about it like this is supposed to be a damning thing for this organization right now with this regime? Like, why is that even a story? Because we already know the story already. So why is this now? Like, why is this even news for real? Because again, we already knew who the problem, who like the main person that was an issue with this isn't even here anymore. So why is it like a cloud on this organization now? It's everybody people have their little ways of going about things or trying to, their little motives and whatnot. I'm over it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm over it. Like, I'm so over it. Like, I ignore it, to be real with you, because I know, when something is legit that's going out, that's there, and then when something's just BS. Because all right, we saw Jerry Jones in a plane with these young girls drunk as hell, hand over. What was that any news? Yeah. All over them. Was that any news? Like, really? No, it wasn't. So why is this? Didn't know anybody said we're going to do an investigation on Jerry Jones and how he treats his staff or whatnot, or these girls? No one cared. It's all motives, man. So it depends. Like, Washington's always been the easy team to pick on because of the owner isn't likable, and he's not. I'm not defending the owner, but I'm all about being fair. Like, my thing is about being fair. When we talking about all these organizations.
Yeah, and I don't think it's about defending Dan, because like Rio said it best, Dan is Dan.
Dan is Dan,
Keith came on our show a couple months back, and he said, if you think because I'm a fan of Bastard, I'm not going to say how I feel about Dan Snyder, you're 100% wrong. I'll lose it today if that's a part of it. Yeah. We all know what Dan Snyder's done. We all know the history of his organization. We all know the skeletons in their closet. But how is the organization ever supposed to move forward? The fans supposed to move forward? I mean, we have to keep talking about this stuff because it just keeps popping up. It's hard to ever move forward when any bad thing that happens in the National Football League is constantly tied to the Washington football team, even when there are good people in the front office. I mean, I agree. You got all this stuff going on with Ryan Vermillion as well. It's like we just cannot stay out of the headlines. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about these victims, and it's really not my place. Go ahead, Rio.
And then on top of all of it, the product on the field is still bad. Like, that's
why.
The issue.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That is the issue. Because if we were winning, these would not be as big as topics as they should be.
Look at Kraft. He wins.
Hell yeah.
You think that like that's extreme. Like what he was caught up with, that's extreme. But they win.
It's sad, but winning cures all.
It does. So
it cures everything.
And like I said, I'm not downplaying anything that happened. The fact that it was all oral is completely sketchy. Yeah. You've got a multitude of women who have been through a lot, and I'm not denouncing any of them. And, the largest fine in NFL history. I mean, everything that had to go through motion went through motion. The motives are the motives. It's happened, it's said, and it's done. And I'll just ask you guys one more question before we move on. Do you guys foresee the Wilkinson report actually being released? No,
it shouldn't. I mean, it's not. It's like those is emails. It is what somebody leaks it, they leak it. But I don't expect it to be released.
And people are very adamant. The NFLPA pushing very, very hard for this. Rio, do you foresee any capacity of the Wilkes report being released to the general public, even with everybody pushing for it?
That would be the morally acceptable thing to do, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because it's going to implicate owners.
Yeah.
And owners are not going to take this fall. They're like, nah, you can let these coaches go ahead and fall on this sword for us, but us 32 guys who dictate how this league is operated, we are not going anywhere. So we are not letting this report get out there. We're going to close the file on that, and we'll find something else to deflect the attention away from it because that's how the league operates.
Yep. They ain't got stuff in the bag. They don't want it. They don't want that smoke.
And I'll tell you, man, the day Bruce, I mean, people can say what they want to about Dan Snyder. You know, there is a record there, but the day Bruce Allen left, a lot of drama left with him out of this building. It was absolutely seismic. Still a lot of work left to do, obviously, off the field. But let's go on the field as the 2-3 Wash football team takes on the 2-3 last place Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs lead the Wash football team 9-1 all time. Our last win over the Kansas City Chiefs being in 1983. We have the number 4
Rio's birth.
The number 4 overall offense in the league takes on the 27th overall defense. That's not something I predicted saying coming into this matchup. That's definitely for sure.
27.
You know, Patrick Mahomes, generational talent. A lot of people say you're going to give him his yellow jacket now. He's averaging like 3 touchdown passes a game. But if there's an element of his game that I've kind of paid attention to in the last couple of weeks, it's his ability to make plays with his legs. I don't know if you guys have paid attention to this, but Patrick Mahomes, has he become sort of a, I'm not going to say Lamar Jackson level, but
he's mobile.
Is he a dual threat quarterback? I mean, it seems to be that's his evolution in 2021.
He's mobile. He's mobile. He's more mobile his rookie year than he was. I mean, his first starting season because he just was just freestyling, doing everything. Then he had the knee injury to kind of change things up a little bit for him. But he's mobile. What I like about him is that he's mobile in the pocket. So he's always trying to, break tackles, extend plays so he can kind of get his receivers time to get open deep. And, his arm is ungodly. So he can always just like fling that thing just like 100 yards. It's like 100 yards if you wanted to. But yeah, so he's mobile. He's just more mobile in the pocket. That's what I like about him.
And people can downplay the Chiefs' start to the year. They have lost to some very good football teams. Yeah. I want to say, what was it? The Ravens, the Bills, and the Browns. 3 very well-coached football teams, very talented.
They beat the Browns, the Chargers. They lost the Chargers.
Excuse me. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right.
It's a good team, too. Another good team.
Patrick Mahomes still leading the NFL in touchdown passes with 16 touchdown passes.
Of course.
It's, to me, the biggest matchup of this game, bar none, is Patrick Mahomes versus this bottom 2 secondary. I mean, we were wondering week after week after week, what is the problem with this defense? And all signs point to the Washington football team secondary, which has been getting absolutely torched. People could sit here and, like I said, downplay how the Chiefs have started the year. They were coming off of an embarrassing Super Bowl loss. They're still 3rd in Super Bowl odds. To me, one of the biggest additions to in the offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs is this offensive line. You got Orlando Brown at left tackle. You got Joe Thuney at left guard. Creed Humphrey, the rookie, at center.
Creed Humphrey balling.
Oh my God, man. It's absolutely crazy. They really took into account all the things that they dealt with against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, went out and loaded up. They get the right guard back after the entire COVID situation with him. They had Lucas Nang at, I think, right tackle. I think he's a rookie. Not quite sure. Haven't watched him play much. But this is a stacked offensive line. And Rio, I see them getting to work a lot sooner rather than later against a D-line that's kind of had some trouble getting a push. Bar you, they had a decent outing last week against James Winston.
Chase got a strip sack, yo. We got to give one up for Chase for getting the strip sack. Finally got on the board in 2021. Oh man, if we don't get after Mahomes early and often, like that, we should be running stunts and exotic blitzes off rip. Like the first play of the game, because that's our only chance, because our backers are bad, our secondary is bad, and our D-line's not living up to expectations. Like, their offense is not the problem. If you watch the Chiefs, it is not the problem at all. Like, when they played the Eagles, there was no punts in the football game, bro. There were 0 punts from either team in the game, and they just turned up on Philly in the fourth quarter, and they can put points up. They can give you a 28-point quarter, like Michael Vick did us in the Monday Night Massacre, like in a heartbeat. So their defense is their issue. Our defense is also our issue, but we don't have a Greek god at quarterback. So this matchup is just bad for us. Like
Rio, this offense is averaging 400 yards a game.
Listen, bro, we made Jameis look like Drew Brees last week.
I mean, and it blows because like in the offseason, we interviewed Doug Williams and we talked about how this team seems to have the approach of, we're gonna have the defense, we're gonna have everything but the quarterback. I don't know about you, Wale, but I'd rather be the Kansas City Chiefs with an absolutely piss poor bottom three defense and Patrick Mahomes held than I ever would feel comfortable with Chase Young in a stacked defense and not exactly a cornerstone at quarterback. I mean, how do you feel about the way that Kansas City's approached building this roster?
I mean, I have no issue with that. I was okay with the way the Washington's building their squad. I just didn't know it would be coached this badly at this season, to be honest with you. And I know we all could talk about, they didn't play certain quarterbacks last year, but I think all as fans and as people can be honest with the situation is that when we watched the first 5 games of the season last year, their defense competed. They just had bad quarterback play, right? This is something totally different. This is like I've never seen a defense this talented. And I really mean it's not just being a fan. Because a lot of people, you just being a fan. But like this year, like I thought this defense would be uber talented to be this bad. But yeah, obviously, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I'll take a Patrick Mahomes in a second. I'll take Aaron Rodgers over any of these individuals in a second.
And this star-studded lineup lost a superstar this last week. Running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who accounted for 304 of the 641 yards on the ground. I've been told
their backup is better than him.
Yeah, man. He'll be all right.
Their backup who's never started an NFL game. Mr.
They got Patrick Mahomes. They don't got to talk about running back.
Running backs. Now, you see from the run game. The last couple of weeks, the Chiefs have been cooking on the ground a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what, Washington, the one thing about Washington, I give them credit, like running backs don't really kill them as much. Like it's these receivers, man. It's these
our biggest kryptonite is obscure, no-name receivers. I'm telling you, every week find the most random receiver on the other team and start Byron Pringle and Mecole Hardman this week.
Hardman gonna kill.
They're going to go crazy on us this week. They're gonna go off. Like I said last week, I was like Marquez Callaway and Deontay Harris gonna get off on us, and they both would have got off on us if Harris didn't get hurt.
But how?
Like really, the Hail Mary.
But how? Like just in general, but how?
That doesn't even know how to jump for Hail Mary. How am I supposed to feel good about them going against the fastest man?
Parker, but they weren't prepared for it.
They weren't prepared for it. That's
Collins, look. Even on his best days, should never play single high against any wide receiving core.
I would have cut him for that comment, bro. Don't tell me you weren't prepared for a Hail Mary, bro. Like, I don't want to hear it, bro.
And that's what I told Josh on last episode. I'm like, that if I was a coach on that staff, that would have pissed me off. Plain and simple.
But what if it was true? That's my problem. That's what goes back to coaching. What if it was true? Because it just seems like this defense isn't prepared for a lot.
Talk about these no-name
out there
receivers.
Freelancing.
We got Mecole Hardman, Josh Gordon coming to town. I wouldn't call Josh Gordon no name, but like I said, you got the fastest man in football, Cheetah, who has had a 197-yard performance this year. He is in tip-top shape, but he isn't even the man that scares me the most in our very zone-friendly defense where we're playing people way out of position. To me, there's one man that scares me most in this matchup other than Patrick Mahomes, and that is tight end Travis Kelce, best tight end in the National Football League. I think he has the longest, streak going on for 1,000-yard seasons for a starting tight end. He's going to eat these linebackers alive, right, Wally? I mean, that is the biggest mismatch.
Davis is going to lock him up, right?
Like,
for all 6 snaps he's going to play.
I know, 6 snaps because they're just so concerned about their defense. They gives up 40 points. To your point, Kelsey's going to kill. I already expect that though. Like tight ends always kill Washington. I already expected that anyway. But I'm actually more fearful of Hill because I just think that there's nobody there's nothing they can do about that. Like there's really nothing. I'm like, well, God bless William Jackson III. Like God bless you.
Kendall Fuller.
Like there's so many bad matches. There's so many bad matches when it comes to Hill when they like you would hope. I mean, you would hope that St. Juice would probably check him a couple enough, but
his 8 snaps,
yeah, exactly. But they're gonna find Tyreek on it. They're gonna put Tyreek somewhere where he can do work, and I don't see anybody safety play. Cornerback play, like that's a problem. Like that is a serious problem. Like I don't. That's who scares me. I'm anticipating easily 150, like easily 150 for him. Easily.
I think if the Washington football team doesn't allow 40 points, it's a miracle. People think that's harsh.
I agree.
But that is how I feel about this matchup.
And
some people with the little narratives that like to crap throughout the week, right? Well, we're catching them at a good time. Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, Joe Thuney, Anthony Hitchen, Javarius Ward, none of them participated in practice. They're banged up coming into this matchup.
They seen our injury list?
Exactly. Tyrann Mathieu had COVID. Frank Clark's missing. Travis Kelce got a stinger 3 weeks ago. Guys, the Chiefs.
Patrick Mahomes still plays for them.
Or the Chiefs. Yes. And, we're sitting here talking about this defense in the secondary and Landon Collins, we already mentioned. If I thought this fan base hated Landon Collins, have you guys seen how much the Chiefs fan base hates Daniel Sorensen? It's wild. They have actually started, fun fact, the Chiefs fans have started a GoFundMe to buy out Daniel Sorensen's contract. That is an actual thing. I'm just mad we didn't think about it for Landon, but that'd be a very expensive GoFundMe. And
he don't deserve any more money than he already getting, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't put any more money into Landon Collins, bro.
Yeah, he's already got too much from this fan.
And I tried with Landon. I tried hard. Like I really tried. Like, because I like Landon. I like them in New York. Too. I do. You just can't deny it anymore, man. It is what it is. You just can't deny it.
Honestly, I feel like they thought about them almost giving him 21. It's like, okay, we can't have a close call like that again. We got to retire the number now. I think that's a testament to how bad Landon Collins is. I know that's hard.
That's a good one.
We're not going to risk it. Just retire. And this kid, like I said, this Kansas City Chiefs defense is horrific. 31st in the entire league. They've allowed the most yards per game, 326, almost 8 yards a play, 27 plays of 20-plus yards. Steve Spagnuolo, God knows what he's got going on over there. So can Heineke cook? We got the 26th ranked passing offense, 24th in points per game, 12th in points per game. We kind of got a little bit better in the time of possession category, but it was not enough to come out on top last week. We got a three-headed monster. We got Terry, who's averaging 80 damn yards a game, got one of the longest streaks, I think, with no drops in the National Football League right now, actually. Antonio Gibson, 60-plus yards a game. Heineke, even though a bad performance, 90 QBR. But my biggest problem with this offense, and Rio, I'll start with you, is who is the number 2 receiver beside Terry? I mean, you have J.D. McKissick, 150 yards. You got Humphrey with 153. But after that, it drops off a cliff. Curtis Samuel, of course, will be on the injury report. But the biggest thing concerning me, Rio, is just who can help Terry out on this offense.
All of the options for this said question is on the injury report every week. Curtis Samuel is like one more tweak of the hamstring away from season-ending IR. The number 10 curse continues. Cam Sims, who was supposed to get some play in the offense this year, I haven't seen him. He's either hurt or not playing. And De'Ami Brown, he's on the injury list too. And when we have seen him, he's looked like a third-round rookie. He hasn't shown what he was showing us in the offseason and in the preseason games. And right now, it looks rough. It looks raw. Terry's an absolute baller. We do not deserve him. And, man, like, that's the offense. The offense runs through Terry and Gibson, and we got to hope Heineke makes plays with his legs, because we can't expect tight window throws and the ball to get there on a rope when these receivers get open, because there were throws, plays, and points left on the field versus the Saints that played a part, because this dude has a very low-level NFL arm.
There you go.
And don't throw fade balls to Curtis Samuel in the red zone, bro. Like, I don't know what that was about.
You said it best. You look at the injury report, that's where all those guys are. Curtis Samuel, you got the groin. In the offensive line, I mean, that's another issue we got going on here. Brandon Scherff, 2-3 weeks.
I mean, but they're playing good, though. They are, their job.
But to me, the biggest loss and the one that could pay huge dividends come this weekend is Samuel Cosmi, who has by far been the home run pick of this draft. Has looked like an all-pro as kind of a mid-round pick for the Washington football team. Got the issues with his ankle. It's going to be something to monitor moving forward. Cole Holcomb and Jonathan Allen, both limited. Both of them are expected to play. Going to monitor De'Ami, but you just got to give Terry some help, man. Something has to give. But, before we close the show, something that concerned me, and I'm a big numbers guy, I'm checking out these snaps. There is no reason on the defensive side of the ball that guys like Tim Settle and James Smith-Williams should be getting more snaps than Jamin Davis, especially with no John Bostic. I mean, I've already got my flowers on Twitter from Jamin Davis.
Take the bubble wrap. Take the bubble wrap off of him. Let him play football.
He has to play football.
These snap clearly they don't
are very concerning.
They don't have any trust in playing this guy right now.
But does it really matter though? Like that's my problem. Like, does it matter that they I don't know why this whole thing about not having trust in them. Like, I would understand if you have like a Baltimore Ravens-ish defense, like in the early 90s, when you okay, we're not gonna play you because we got a top three defense.
There's nothing in front
of defense is trash. All right, let's just keep it a buck. It's trash. It's horrible. Him playing what's gonna give you 7 more points? We're adding 7 more points. Okay, now from being 30. It's 37. Whoop-de-doo. You're giving up 30 almost every freaking week. You gave up 30 to Daniel Jones, who's not even that good.
And they're not changing the scheme. They're sticking to their guns. And you got guys like Kendall Fuller at the podium. Well, this isn't that much of a different start to last year. We've been here before.
It is a different start.
With the handicap NFC East with no Dak Prescott, no.
And be real, we're not stupid. I hate when they say that. It's similar. It's not similar. It's not your play. Last year you weren't giving up touchdowns every first drive. You weren't doing that. Like, the only time y'all gave up touchdowns and points is these are 2 reasons why. Offense turned the football over and put y'all in jacked up situations. And secondly, offense wasn't moving the football, so y'all was on the field too damn long. And then that's why y'all giving up points and teams are moving on you. This is not – and this was against elite quarterback play. This is in the beginning of the season when you play against Russell Wilson, folks like that. So this is not the same. You're giving up big yardage to trash quarterbacks right now. Exactly. I like James. James hasn't been thrown for 300 yards. He's barely throwing for 150. Killed him. Daniel Jones, before he came to DC, was struggling, and he was looking like Vic and everybody else that day. I don't want to hear about the defense look the same. It did not. We're not stupid.
And while they have this crutch of, well, that's just the formation. That's the package we're in. There's no reason Landon Collins should be in on 100% of snaps.
Well,
I'll say on the field for 87, 88% of snaps. Khalid Hudson, a guy we've heard about nonstop, was on the field for 5% of the snaps last week.
It's all stupid. It's all dumb. And it's all right. We get on Landon, right? Like, we know Landon can't cover. Like, that's not even we know why is Landon playing that position anyway. Like, look at what the Seattle Seahawks do with Jamal Adams. Like, Jamal Adams is basically a quasi linebacker. He blitz on every freaking third down. And that's something Landon does. Landon did that successfully in New York. But you're using Landon like he's Sean Taylor. You know what I'm saying? RIP Sean Taylor. But that's what you're trying to use him like. So stop it. Like, it's so much wrong with this defense. If you want to use Landon, and we're going, I know I'm piling on Landon. If you want to use Landon that way, like you want to use him as a real safety, then put his ass on the bench, call up Reeves and have Curl, because at least that combination was successful for you last year. Like, I don't even get the stubbornness of not going to something that was successful for you last year. Like, you don't have Darby because Darby left. Okay, you don't have that. But you do have guys in the building that help your defense ball, but you don't want to play them. Like, what is that about?
Rivera's admitted it this week with some Urban Meyer energy. He overestimated where this team was and where this roster was. He really did.
We go out and throw a bag at William Jackson and say, play differently than you've played your whole career.
Exactly.
Like, it's the same thing we did with Josh Norman. It's like, why do you sign these guys and have this ego, fit into what I do instead of fitting your defense to the strength of the personnel on your roster? I don't get that shit.
And also, to your point about Rivera, though, this is my issue with that statement, because that really rubbed me the wrong way.
The media's getting to it,
I'm going to tell you this, though. I'm going to tell you I don't like cop-outs. Like, I don't like that. Like, it's a cop-out. And I'm not – I know he had to deal with a lot last year, but, bruh, you fed into it. Because I'm going to tell you this. If you thought you were better because if you didn't think that, there's no reason you get Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, let's keep that a buck. There's no reason you get Ryan Fitzpatrick and bring him here if you didn't think your team was going to be better than what it was. You coach this. This is your responsibility, right? This is your responsibility.
Exactly.
Like, we talk about it, RP Kobe Bryant, but having a Mamba mentality. You believe you're going to win every fucking game you play in this game.
Facts.
Like, you don't say, I wish we didn't go 7-9 and win the division. Then when expectations would have been a lot lower.
It's down to 4 or 5 plays is what we're bearing this coaching staff saying. It's 4 to 5 plays.
No.
It's 4 to 5 plays. No,
crazy,
stop
man.
that.
It's the same shit every week and the same shit
Yeah.
we've been accustomed to no matter what coach you place here.
There you go.
It's the same old shit. Rinse, wash, repeat.
Yes.
Hey, I don't think Ron Rivera's going anywhere.
he's
Anywhere
not.
Oh, I'm not
soon.
asking for him to go. I'm not that
But
person.
his
I'm not
seat
saying-
ain't even warm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
Ron, we trust, can erode slowly.
Yeah, it can. No,
over
it
time.
can. But I just want you to own it. Like, my thing is own it. Like, don't do this. Don't do that excuse shit to me because I don't like that shit. Like, you, when everything was good, you were clowning that. Well, we're 7-9. We made Tampa Bay work. You know, we played. They say we played Tampa Bay the best in the playoffs, and they won the
that
Super
was
Bowl.
January.
You was clouting that. You were running with that. Now, I wish we didn't go 7-9 and win the division. Like, no, I don't want to hear that shit. Like, don't do that. You can't have it both ways. It's either you are a 7-9 squad for real, or you the squad that you kept toting that you going to be. That's all it is.
Ready or not, here the Chiefs come, and we close out the show with our PrizePicks pick of the week. Promo code SSNWFT. We're on 100% instant deposit bonus match. Like I said, promo code SSNWFT is not you versus the player. It is you versus the projection. Kansas City only minus 6.5 being
That's
the
terrible.
spread. Over under 54.5 points. Wale, are you taking the spread? You taking the over? You taking the under? Brought to you by PrizePicks.
Smashed
I'm going over. They can get 40, and Washington get like 20. So I'm going over. Like, I think Washington could score like 25, 30. Like, they scored like 27, 30. But
And
Kansas City, I don't know. You can stop Kansas City. I don't know.
27.
What's your
That's the
score
number.
prediction? I forgot to throw that in there as well.
Oh, score. Okay. Let me be. I said like 45. I'm going to say 50. 50 to 27. That's fair.
That's crazy. I got it 45-27.
Look at you. See, look.
These teams are getting 40 dropped on them, dog. If it
You know,
doesn't
they
happen,
get- they
That
get
score
it.
sounds too much. It makes too much sense, bro.
Six, man. There's no way. Like, there's no way, man.
It's gonna look like a faux shootout for like 3 quarters, and then they're gonna
The
turn
only
up on us.
way they don't, the only way it doesn't happen is like the offense gets smart and just play a ball control game where they just run the football to just make sure they have the ball. That's the only way that's the only way, because the only way Kansas City doesn't score unless they're not on the field. That's the only way I look
I
at it.
got the Chiefs minus 24. And
Okay.
I just, like I said, I see 41-17 Kansas City Chiefs. So
Also makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
I hate to be that way, man, especially knowing everything about Sean now.
Question though. If we only put up 17 on what could be the league's worst defense, do we see Kyle Allen on Sunday?
Ooh.
Kyle Allen's
Wait,
like a trigger
wait.
word for me.
Wait. Folks are trying to get Kyle? Like, is that a thing? They
No,
going
so
for
you're not a
Kyle?
part of the Heineke hive?
I like Heineke, but I'm also not. I have no issue. I don't like either. I'm like that much. To be real
There's
with
no
you.
solution on the
There's
roster.
No.
solution.
But as far as us actually having fun as fans, I think
Yeah.
everybody can agree Heineke is the option in 2021.
Yeah. Agreed.
Rio, are you suggesting that a Kyle Allen quarterback switch could be on the
No,
horizon?
I'm asking if we only put up 17 on what could be the worst defense in the league, like
I
worse
think it's
than us.
possible.
Like,
It's possible.
do we see a quarterback change? Because this defense has not played a decent game yet. They are terrible. The Chiefs' defense is worse than
Yeah.
ours. Like,
Now, I'll say this. This Chiefs
There's levels to it,
defense,
though.
historically, throughout the years that Patrick's been there, sometimes they ride off that offensive momentum. Sometimes guys like Frank Clark can get hot, Tyrann Mathieu can get hot, and they can play above what they are graded. And I just hope Taylor Heineke watches his neck and continues to slide because I really don't want to see Kyle Allen
Me either.
anytime.
I mean, I'm not the big real talk. I mean, Parker, I'm not the biggest Kyle Allen fan. I don't believe in Kyle Allen. I'm not that person. But I will say this though, it's different levels to it though, Rio. If he throws like picks like he has done.
If he has a game like last week, yeah, I could definitely see
Yeah,
it.
like I do think you'll probably see Kyle Allen. If he do what he
He's-
did last week, you'll see Kyle
he's
Allen.
been getting away with a lot.
Yeah, I know. He
of
gets away
almost
with him.
picks.
I know. So I'm saying he gets away with him. So
This seems to be the week for moral victories, as none of us foresee the Washington football team getting a victory on Sunday against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Give me my moral victory. We showed fight in the
We
day
showed fight.
we honored Sean.
man, yeah.
Yeah,
All I want
we
them to do
should
is-
fight, or
like,
we got our
look,
ass
man.
mercilessly beat.
All I want from them is the same thing I wanted, like, but they end up winning from last year when they played Pittsburgh. All I want them to do is compete. That's all I care. Like, just compete. Don't go out like suckers. Like, just compete.
Facts.
That's all I care. You compete, I'm okay with it because I don't expect you to win. So just compete.
There are some positives. Got our new website launched over at sidelinesports.com.
That's dope.
Very excited about that. Wole, we're at the end of the show, man. Just want to say, even though it's kind of a morbid subject, not a lot of people foresee a win on Sunday. Really enjoyed you stopping by, man, and chopping up with us. It's been too long.
Anytime, man. I love y'all, man. Y'all cool folks, man. Y'all cool folks.
Rio, what's all latest with Raw Talk, man?
Oh, man, the usual, I've been dropping. We already started the draft.
I was about to say, Rio's already talking about quarterbacks.
My first episode. Hey, we got.
That's the positive. Ain't that the positive about this season? Though, is the draft prospects?
It is. We started this week. My guy Michael Haas on the timeline. He likes breaking down quarterback. I said, let's get our series started in week 6. We're talking Malik Willis and Matt Corral on the show. Next episode is going to include Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, and Kenny Pickett. And, we got to start looking because we know what's coming when it's offseason gets here.
Saints game, Rio just – how about April? Let's get it.
Look, I'm not even mad. That's the one thing I was telling folks. I was like, you know what?
I'm not upset.
You make it a quarterback.
And it may come organically. We may not even have to trade up.
Yeah, we have to trade up.
My prediction was Sam Howell, but I am coming Malik Will's guy. The closer and closer we get to April.
Boxes for me.
And of course, got to pay the bills over here. I'm the head of NFL operations here at the Sidelines Sports Network. So if you or anyone you are interested in covering their favorite NFL franchise, we got some also looking for writers right now for the website, getting things up and running. Email me at sidelines_WFT@gmail.com. Like I said, Wole, it was a pleasure having you on. Congrats again, Rio, for 1K, and happy birthday, brother. Everybody, make sure you wish Rio happy birthday.
Yes,
see you guys after Kansas City. This is the SSN signing off.
And this episode was brought to you by Parker Football Focus.